Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Experience Stage. Good to have you here. Are you still alive? Come on, ladies and gentlemen. It's Team Exco. Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about AI. There's a big hype about AI. You know, all the newspapers, all the magazines, all the platforms are about artificial intelligence. Well, everybody talks about it. Everybody knows about it, but what are usable cases for artificial intelligence? That's the topic of our very next panel. And I'm really happy to have a great panel. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's a two-way street. I announce somebody coming on stage which is an expert. And if that person gets on stage, he or she will need a rockstar welcome. Can I count on you guys? Good. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Johannes Sommer, CEO of Retresco.
Ich bin total happy.
Ladies and gentlemen, but we have much more to come. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Professor Jens Lamprecht, Gestalt Robotics.
Hey. So.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Anna Lukasa, CEO of Naris. And she is moving, that's great. And ladies and gentlemen, I knew her face from a website actually, and I'm very glad to have met her. Her name is Anja Händel, she's from Porsche Digital Lab. Please give her a big welcome. And ladies and gentlemen, the next panel will be hosted by a colleague of mine. He's the editor-in-chief of the magazine T3, and please give a big welcome for Stefan Dörner.
Hi, good morning. It's not as excited when I say it than when Tim says it yesterday, but we will talk AI, as Chano already said, and you might think again, but we will talk about how AI gets real appliances, real use cases. And first of all, I want to ask you, Anja, what is your personal definition of AI? I know it sounds like a really trivial question, but I think it's not that easy to answer. So what is your personal definition of that?
So one of my tasks in the Porsche Digital Lab is really to explain people a lot what for technologies are used. So when I try to keep it simple, and I think this is the best way to not go into very nerdy discussions. AI is good for complex problems which you cannot easily explain by yourself. So this is where AI comes to the best solution, right? Problems where you cannot explain how the solution should look like. Do you agree, or do you have something you'd like to extend?
Yes, I agree. I think AI for me is math, and AI for me is a tool. And I think we should treat it that way, right? AI as a hype is not, in my opinion, not the right way. I think AI is a tool, in my opinion, for complex problems.
Maybe that you get a sense of what kind of audience you are. Who of you would say, I'm a nerd? Okay, very few. So we try to keep it a little bit more on the surface. Johannes, you are working for a company that writes articles and also analyzes articles. For example, you have written reports by machines on all German football amateur leagues. When will we reach the point that I have to worry about my job as a journalist?
So I don't think you have to worry too much. So the thing we do is natural language generation. So we write articles or we write text. You will not see that it's not written by a human. This is the goal. But it's all data driven, so we can only explain in a football game what happened and how it happened. But if you want to explain why it happened or why Ronaldo is the best guy in the world, then you don't only want to describe it based on data. You need some research, or you have to talk to some people, and this is still a journalistic work. So I think we do basic stuff, not only in journalism. We do a lot of e-commerce things and a lot of texting and financial industry, for example. But we will not do real journalistic work.
You will not do it, but do you think that it will be possible at some point?
I don't think at the moment it is possible because, so as I said, we have to have data. As everything in AI or in automation, all we do is, or all we produce is based on a huge amount of data we can learn from. And everything what is not expressed in data, we cannot explain. So we can do data journalism pretty good automatically, but we will not do a thing where you need human intensity or you need emotion and all that kind of stuff, where you have to read between the lines to get the real question answered. The machine is not able to do that.
I think what we should not underestimate is that the strongest combination is always between a machine and a human. So it's better to see it as a tool which supports you in the daily work than something which, totally takes your job away. I mean, this is really normally where the beauty is, that all the tasks which we do in our every day, which consume a lot of time, but can be done quite easily. This is a good job for automation and AI.
Yeah, and if you look back in the history and see how automation develops and how number of employment and numbers like that developed, it's always linear. So the result was never that there were less jobs when the automation went on. It was always increasing jobs because there were new jobs coming and there were nicer jobs coming and jobs for more people. It was always linear. Yeah? So the fear that jobs are getting lost because of automation, you don't see it in the numbers when you look back, and there is no evidence why it should be now like that.
Okay. But let's talk about the technology and how far it has come right now. Anna, you founded Neris, and it's an AI-based image recognition. Maybe you can describe what the software is able to do today and what are the limitations.
Yeah, happy to do. So what image recognition is like the first part that we tried to copy, where we try to copy our brain. And basically we try to copy the way how our brain transforms and process information. And the basic idea here is we do it in parallel. All of us, every brain of us, even the male brain of us, can do things in parallel. And that's the big difference to how we mathematicians in the past process data. We did it linear. Yeah, so that's the big difference. And because we do it in parallel, we see that there are some kinds of new data coming up and new results coming up, and we have the feeling there is a little bit magic behind. But it's not really a lot of magic. If you compare the very, very easy image recognition to what we can do as a human, when I look around and see all of your faces and see that you are further back way and you guys are further closer to me, a machine is not even able to do that. For a machine, you guys behind are just smaller than you guys here up front. So the very natural depth perception that we have as a human, machines are not able to do that, and we still don't have a clue how to get there. Yeah. And another point where machines are really badly versus us is the energy consumption. So for the calculations that we humans do during a day, a machine would need 10,000 times more energy than we do. Yeah, so that's amazing numbers. So there is still a lot of time we have until we get replaced.
I mean, for someone who is not really deep into this topic, it sometimes seems a little bit odd that on the one side there is a machine that can beat every Go player in the world easily, and on the other hand, machines cannot do tasks that feel really, really easy for us. So what kind of tasks are easily automated and what kind of tasks are hard?
The easy stuff is the stuff that we humans understand. Yeah, because we understand what we need to do when we play Go or when we play chess, we can explain what to do.
Because there are clear rules for that.
Exactly, yeah. And so then we can automate that. And machines are just much faster than we are, so they can do it better. But feelings, like you just said, we have no fucking clue how it works up there. And then we find out.
Michelle, you are at Gestalt Robotics, and you work in this field. What Anja already mentioned, that machines and people work together. Do you use deep learning? Is because everybody speaks about deep learning all the time when we talk AI. Last years, we always talked about deep learning. Are you using deep learning, and are you using other technologies? Do you see anything on the horizon behind deep learning?
Yeah, we are using deep learning, but we're also using metric learning, like k-nearest neighbors. We use reinforced learning. We use different kind of methods to do like the job that is in the requirements. The first question we ask the customer is deep learning forced on you, or is it something that you think you may need? That's the first thing that we do.
Yeah. Sometimes I have the feeling that the topic of AI somehow is similar to the topic of the internet in the 90s. Everybody says, we have to do something with AI because everybody does it. Is it that customers come to you and say, we have to do something with AI, please tell me what to do?
Yeah, well, they are like sometimes scared, and they're happy that we listen to them. They're happy that we kind of understand where they're coming from and what they want. And then for them, it's just a relief that we can tell them, okay, this is possible at the moment in this like type of budget situation, and that may not be possible, not for us or not for someone else. And that's what we're trying to accomplish during a discussion. Mm-hmm. And then, yeah.
Anja, was this also the motivation for Porsche, that they founded Porsche Digital Lab, that they say, oh, we have to do something, this digitalization is not going away?
We truly believe that if you want to shape the future, you need to understand technology. And I think this is really what needs to be done. If you do not have the confidence what you can do with technology and what are the limitations, you will not be somebody who's shaping the future in a way, because to understand what you can do with it is really an important key. So this is why we started to work in this lab.
Mm-hmm. And when I buy a Porsche today, and by the way, I will not do it, but if I would buy a Porsche today, how much AI would be in it?
I mean, there's AI in various points. I think the most obvious is the infotainment area, like we all have it in our mobile phones. I think this is really the part from why I think that AI is not a hype which will go away, right? We have it in our daily lives. We have it all in our mobile phones. We have it all in our cars. You do not need to buy a Porsche to have AI in your car. Mm-hmm. It's just something which is there and supports us, like what I mentioned before. I mean, technology is not there because we need to use this technology. It's always there to solve a problem. And I think it's really important to understand the problem and find the right technology to solve the problem, and not say we have to do something with this technology because everybody talks about it. This is bullshit.
Yeah. Michelle, people what are the real problems of the customers that come to you? What are the kinds of solutions you can provide with AI?
What we do, what we're specialized in right now is AI-based image recognition.
So that's your expertise also? Yeah.
Well, we do...
It's a very broad field.
Well, for asset management and like you said, Q&A, or just people counting, or just quality in general. Then autonomous mobility, like for indoor navigation. The other one is cloud robotics, or like intelligent robotics, and cloud robotics is a part of it. We have a project with Osram. And the last one is, no, it's gone, it's 4 things. Adaptive. So if you have a smart workspace that can adapt to every situation, or has AR included and can show you what the next step would be, or in general what the next steps are. That's what we do.
I assume your customers are big industrial players, like, I don't know, Daimler,
Procter & Gamble, for example.
Procter & Gamble, okay. So aren't they investing themselves into technology, into expertise, into AI experts? Is there a problem that they working on their own solutions and don't buy something from you, or is it?
From discussions, and I guess Porsche might have a different opinion. I think if you have people included in projects, you don't want to like exclude them or take them out from the projects and learn totally new stuff. So that's where we come in. We show what the core abilities are. We build some, like, help them, we educate them. And I think we're just cheaper in terms of not just labor costs, but also time-wise. We don't have to learn everything from scratch. And I guess that's where the beginnings are for one company that wants to get into AI.
When we look into the future of AI, we have this big GAFA economy in the world, and the big players, they have a lot of data, and as a who's not really deep into this field, understand it, data is important for deep learning, so you have to have a lot of data. So Johannes, maybe you, do you think in the future there will be a lot of niche players who have the expertise on a lot of different AI technologies, or will there be a Google of AI, or will even be Google the Google of AI, and just have all the solutions for all the people?
Well, it's a little bit of what we said before. So there's not this one strong super AI, comes and is doing every task. At the moment, we talk about single problems a certain AI can solve. And sometimes customers come and say they want AI and they don't need it at all to solve their problem. So they just need something, but not AI. So, and this is also the reason why big players like Procter & Gamble talk to companies like ours, because it is a very specific problem they want to solve, and it is not their business to solve this specific problem, and there are specialists who can do that. So no, I think at the moment there is no fear that there's one big player doing everything, and also that a big company will solve all their problems they can solve with AI by themselves. Of course, the big ones like Google, they are far ahead in developing AI solutions, and the big thing is they have not only a lot of data, they have a lot of people who have the knowledge, they have a lot of experience, so they could go in every niche they identify to be relevant for the business, and this is the problem for companies like us. If they think natural language generation is a good thing to do and they want to do soccer games, they will not do it easily. But of course, I wouldn't say they can't do it. So, but there's no fear that there will be one player, and kills us all in the next few years. I don't see that.
But that means that all the really profitable businesses will be with some chance that there will be Google and Amazon and other big players who will go to that, and then only niche players will have the chance, and little players will only have the chance that they go into niches. Or do you see that there will be some new big player based on AI?
I would say it's an us, and I think it's a big threat to Europe and to our economy. 90% due to the newest UNO report, the first report on digital economy worldwide, says that 90% of all digital markets, the entire worldwide digital market, belongs to either China or USA. And out of that to 7 platforms, which is GAFAM and Tencent and Alibaba. And that's a threat, that's a big threat. They control our life, they track and shape it, because they control the data we produce every day. In private, the game is almost over. I still think we have a chance to get there, but it's almost over. In the industry field and economic field, we still have the chance to do it. But what I see at the moment is that a lot of big players, our customers like Volkswagen, Porsche, and Co., they host their their data on AWS and Google and Azure because they have no other alternative. Yeah. So what happens at the moment is that all the hardware that we are so proud to produce gets connected. Yeah, and through IoT. And this connections produces data. And this data is stored on Chinese hardware managed by American companies. And that's a big threat I see to the entire wealth we have in Europe. Yeah? And this is on us. It's not the generation before us because they don't do anything on that. Yeah, it's not on politics, it's on us to change that. Yeah.
Does Porsche also use the AWS? Do you know that?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, nothing to add. I mean, there are not too many alternatives there. I mean, I see it so and so. I mean, that sometimes we have no alternatives, especially in the Chinese market. When we go there, we have to use it. I mean, it's not a...
You have to use Alibaba Cloud or something like that.
We have to use, at least, we have to use everything in the regulations which there are in China. So it's not something that we have to work with Chinese companies. And this is obvious, like everybody is forced to do this. So, but I totally agree with your point that I think the B2C market is really nearly done. And we have a chance in the B2B market. We have a chance with the T of the IoT part. So, and we need to work on this and there we have a lot of knowledge. I mean, this is exactly the sweet spot where we come in, and that's why we have our own tech knowledge built up there, because I truly believe in the diversity of teams. So people who have their domain knowledge and people who have tech knowledge, to bring them together to build good solutions. And you need both players, because one of the other doesn't understand the problem or the technology. So it's really about bringing the right people together to build the solutions. And this is a task we have to do. And I also see a potential for with the big players like Google, because the areas where we build solutions at the moment, they are far too, I mean, they are for the automotive industry, and they are quite okay in the size from a business volume, but they are too small for the Googles in this world. The Googles of this world want to solve big problems, and that's where they're good at. I mean, yeah.
This panel is called Things Must Get Real Now. So I want to also talk about practical solutions. I think we have a lot of people in the audience who have a website or have an e-commerce shop or something like that. What are real-world solutions in the AI space? People like them, people who have a website or e-commerce shop, for example, can buy right now, and what is useful? Maybe Johannes.
So now it's the marketing part.
Yeah. You can pitch your own product also. Yeah.
So of course, what we can do, or what we do for e-commerce, is mainly we create automated descriptions of things someone wants to sell, so that someone can read what he buys. So we take the product data and create automated product descriptions or automated landing page text that someone, or we compare products to each other automatically. This is something a machine can do very good and very fast, and can see why this refrigerator is the better one than that. And also we create real-time services. So we do chatbot applications, or we do real-time things. Someone enters data points and we create a text out of it. So all kind of communication skills or descriptive text is what we produce automatically to solve repetitive marketing issues and doing things. Mainly a battery of people do a writing job, which is pretty primitive.
But isn't this mostly done by just normal scripts and not so much by AI? Is AI more a marketing term in this?
Well, it depends. The right thing is that in the most cases, we don't use any magic things. So it's a deterministic approach in natural language generation, because you don't have the input-output equivalent. So it's very hard to say, or it's hard to train this data means this and that, because language is so diverse. So in the most cases, we don't use any, but there are, of course, cases where you can use machine learning.
Mm-hmm. Anna, what are your software used for? Is it only for the big industrial players who work on
We have a
autonomous?
lot of e-commerce players here, and I'm happy to talk about what we do. Yeah, so we have like 50% of our customers are retailers and e-commerce players, and what we do there is visual search. That means we search with pictures inside the database of our customers. And for example, what you can use it for is to raise your conversion and raise your order value. We typically raise it by 25 to 40% for those customers who use it. And the way you use it, the way you can use it is just you upload your database into our system. So basically your Google Shopping feed if you have one. And after 1 hour, the service is ready to go. And your customers can then search inside your product feed with pictures and not with text. So every time they see something on Instagram or every time they see something somewhere and can't really describe it well, like for example, you take this chair, you can just say, okay, it's a chair, it's metal and it's blue, and you get like 1,000 responses. So every time you really want to have this product and you can't describe it well, you just take a pic and we search it for it. And a lot of customers use it just because it's so much easier than typing. Yeah, you can't type as fast as we find. We find the products in 500 million product databases in less than a second, and that's because of AI. You could do it with traditional technologies, but you would never be that fast, and so you can't type that fast.
Okay. And Michelle, I assume that your customers are not little e-commerce shop.
They're mostly in the space like in industrial applications. One application is AGVs, automated guided vehicles. They drive on a shop floor, and there are AGVs that drive based on a fixed layout of the floor, and our AGVs are a lot more flexible, so they can adapt to the current environment. They map the environment on the fly with an algorithm called SLAM, and yeah, they bring tools, so they bring they support the craftsman on the shop floor. Other things that we augment or through pose detection, like we can stay in front of a cobot or an robot arm, and tell this robot arm what to do at what point in time. Or you use AI to go through a bunch of data, usually collected from AR or VR, and you go through the data and you're trying to eliminate the garbage that is collected. That's what we use AI for.
And do you need a lot of data for that to train the robots?
For deep learning, you need a lot of data, and there's actually the pain point that some customers, or most of the customers, don't have this amount of data available. And if it's image recognition, we can provide with artificially produced images. But yeah, you need a lot of data. For one product that we have, it's called Epic. That's actually one where we do metric learning and where the amount of data is not necessary. Like with 1 shot or 2 shots, you can actually understand the difference between that product and the product before. Mm-hmm. So it's not always necessary to have lots of data.
Mm-hmm. In the last years, if you look into the media, AI was everywhere. Everybody talked about it. I think the real big hype started when Google released what was again the Go application, AlphaGo. Then the big media hype started, and we have now several years. And normally, if you look at the Gartner hype cycle, things get hyped. Then we have a phase where things get a little bit more quiet. And do you think we are now behind this curve? Are we going now into this? No, the hype is still there.
Maybe the hype, because it gets boring to talk about it because every time it's the same. But from the technology part of you, we are not even at the beginning. Yeah. So there is, and I guess our kids will laugh very loud when we talk to them what we call AI today. Yeah.
And
the major problem is that it is getting a marketing term. So if you walk through every second booth has AI on it, and you don't even know what it is all about. So, 3 to 5 years ago, if I had an amount of data which not fits in my Excel, it was big data, and now every software I can't explain is AI. So, and this is the problem. So, from a technological view, I completely agree. We are just at the very beginning of the things, but on the marketing hype, we maybe next year we have something else. I don't know, but it will not go away, and we're just at the very beginning of it.
Yeah. AI is pretty robust as a topic. It's still, I mean, it was there a few years ago at the conferences. It's still here. We're still talking about it. So it seems to be that there is something.
I mean, AI is really old, right? I mean, it's the first method
50s.
started 40 years ago, or more than 40 years ago. So I think it's really a journey. So there have been some winters.
The 80s
already,
was the big AI winter. Yeah, right. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if you look closer, there's another Gartner hype cycle where it says a general AI or artificial intelligence, like artificial general AI. That's at the beginning, and that's what Vanity Fair is writing about and QQ. And we're actually all in the same realm. We are in a narrow type of AI. So that's a totally different AI, and I think that evolves over time. And we're using it even in tools that are far beyond like the third or fourth stage of the Gartner hype cycle. So I think the term itself is a hype, but the tools itself are not.
Okay. Annie, since you started at Porsche Digital Labs, did you develop something AI-wise which now is used in the company or maybe at Volkswagen even?
We are working on products now. I mean, when we started, the major task was to get some inspiration and inspire the people what can be done with AI, and build some first prototypes. And what we figured out, that's what we do normally, that things come up which you do not expect. I mean, we figured out then that things which we build as a POC are in the end products which are not in the market. So there's no supplier who can give this to us. So it makes totally sense to build a product out of it. So we are now in this stage where we are trying to scale this product, which is quite a challenge. I don't want to get too nerdy here, but I mean, it's really...
It's technically a challenge, or it's organization-wide?
Both.
Both, yeah.
Both. It's, both. Yeah.
Because you are...
Stop. Otherwise it will be too nerdy.
And maybe you can, if not, to get not too technical, maybe you can talk more about the organization thing. You are based in Berlin, and Porsche, as everybody or most of people know, is based in Stuttgart.
In Stuttgart and Leipzig, which is nice for us because it's not so far from Berlin. But also the people from Berlin, we always work with product owners which have this product vision, and they are the domain experts. So they come from Porsche Leipzig or from Porsche Zuffenhausen or from Weissach, our R&D center. So we always have a person in the team who knows what a product should do and how it has to look like to be able to go to.
But if I imagine just a general Porsche manager in Stuttgart, doesn't he think, oh, these Berlin hipsters, what are they doing there far away from Stuttgart?
Sure, it's always like this is your reputation, right? You have to deliver good things and show that you add value. Otherwise, people do not see what you do. So this is what we did do in the last years. We built products which make sense for them, not fancy stuff, but really things which solve problems in their daily working life, in the production or in the R&D test benches. So really things which are in their daily product working life.
Do you have an example for that?
Yeah, sure. We work at the moment on a solution which is optimizing in the production the ways where they go to for the plant maintenance, for a very early stage of plant maintenance, which one to exchange first based on the supply chain of cars to be produced. And on the other side, we do some sound detection on our test benches in the R&D department. So the mirror quality test, for example, bringing the mirror up and opening and closing it all the time. Thousands of times, seeing when the noise gets weird. And this is something a human can do, which is, I don't think, a very interesting job, but needs to be done by somebody. Otherwise, you have a lot of costs in a later stage. And this is what we replaced now somehow by a tool which gets all these noises, and as soon as the AI thinks it sounds like it should not sound, it detects records the file, sends it by email in the night to the sound engineer, and he's just testing it. So the AI is not doing something by itself, so the product is not doing something by itself, but it supports the human to do the job better.
So we have 5 minutes left now, and normally at this part and on an AI panel, we get to the science fiction part. So we cannot leave out that. So I want you to ask all of you, what do you think can we expect from AI technology in the future, near future, 10 years maybe, or even the big picture? Do you think that there will be at some point the general artificial intelligence, the super intelligence? Is this on the horizon? Is this something we have to be fearful of? What is your personal approach? Maybe you, Johannes, first.
So I don't think there will be a super AI in 10 years. I think we will see a lot of great things, which helps us make our life convenient in a B2B and B2C world. As we say, we're on the very beginning. I have no clue what will be in 10 years, but for sure there will be solutions that are not gone away. And at the moment, we are pretty much into helping humans doing the job by supporting them by AI, and I think this will be the main thing within the next years. I don't think we're talking about making humans useless. There's no situation where I see it. Even the self-driving cars in all our cities, I don't see it too soon in Berlin. So at the moment, we're concentrating, I think, everyone to support human doing in whatever they do. But there will be a lot of things helping us improve in what we do in daily life.
Yeah. I think I'm just talking about what I wish will happen. And there's going to be a conversational AI that I can talk to. And now it's the context of engineering. And you imagine you're sitting in a room, an engineer here, a manager here. There's usually a disconnect between both worlds. There's one with a different agenda and another one with the knowledge, in my opinion. And if there's a conversational AI that can go through like data like PDFs, images, documents, and can collect the data over time, can get smarter. And then within that situation, you can give an educated answer, or you can give an educated guess, and then both worlds maybe merge better and can understand each other better. That's what I want. But that's still far away.
Everybody can hope for something. Anna?
Yeah, I would also like to talk about the wish and what I hope will come. And I'm an optimist. And I truly hope that we as Europe will unite, because there is no other way to break those oligopolistic structures we have out there. And I think it's a big trap that there are seven companies in the world who track and shape our lives. And secondly, I think that every one of us can do something. Yeah, every one of us can push. I can push digital economy, can support digital companies who are present in Europe already. Every one of you who listens to music online or who streams music should use Spotify and not Apple and the others. Who uses Spotify? Who not? So shame on you. Do it tomorrow. And I'm really. It's really important. Yeah.
You really want to break up GAFA.
I really want to break up GAFA, and we host on GCP, yeah. So we are a Google partner. Google was we are one of the first German startups inside the Google Startup Program, and without Google there wouldn't be Nairis. So I'm very thankful for those guys as well. But those oligopolistic structures that are there, we need as Europe, we need to get into it. Yeah, we have less than 3% of market share in this market, and that's one of the most successful and most fastest growing markets out there. We need to get there in.
Anja, your vision.
Yeah, I think what we normally say is that you overestimate things which happen in soon future and underestimate what will happen in the next 10 years. So what I wish for is to really work on a responsible AI, which is in my opinion always something which brings in diverse perspectives. And I think having Europe in mind, we are very diverse. We are not like China, we are not like the States. We speak different languages, we have different cultural backgrounds. We know what diversity means much more than all the others in this world. So I hope that we build a nice, responsible and AI for the future.
Anja, Anna, Michelle, Johanna, thank you all. Thank you for listening and have a nice day.